We're going to be starting on a family pedigree project when we return from break. So before we do that, I would like you guys to have a rough draft of your family tree. So when we start to trace the traits, you guys already have your family tree made. So what a pedigree is we're going to choose a trait. Some of the ones that I gave you are like if it's a straight hair to the curly hair, or tongue rolling to no tongue rolling. Talking about your earlobes, and we'll talk more about this when we return from break. But the first thing I would like you guys to do is to make a family tree. Here's an example of a family tree. This is kind of my family tree with some things added in so you guys could see it. So what you guys are going to do is you are going to start with your grandparents, and that is going to be generation number 1. In this, I have them indicated by individuals 1 and 2. And then from there, you're going to have your parents and their brothers and sisters, and then you and your cousins, and in my case, we all have children. So here are some symbols you guys are going to use for that. When you're building a family tree, a circle is going to indicate female or egg producer. A square is going to indicate male or sperm producer. And then this diamond shape will indicate that the gender is unknown. And I will go through my family pedigree so you guys can see how that works. If that individual is adopted, you would either use the circle or the square, depending on the male or female, and put the brackets around to indicate they are adopted. A line through the circle or square would indicate they are deceased. When you see the circle and square connected, that indicates they have mated or married. Now you see those are directly connected. Now to show siblings, you have the small lines coming down. And then you can see all of these three, there's 2 sisters and a brother. If individuals are divorced or no longer together, you put 2 lines between them, like that. If there is a set of twins, you have them conjoined. And then if someone is together and then they are separated or divorced, and then somebody remarries, you can show on the other side you put the new spouse. So I'm going to go over mine. I numbered mine for you guys just so I can explain it better. You do not need to number yours. What you guys are going to do is you're going to put the names underneath the circles and squares. So in this case, you can see that I have my grandparents as individuals 1 and 2. They are now deceased, so I put the lines through them. When they were deceased, they were still together, so they don't have the 2 lines between them. Looking at this, they had 3 daughters. Number 3 is a female, number 6 is a female, and number 10 is a female. Those are all their 3 daughters. My aunt married, but then passed away, so I have a line through her that indicates deceased. Now over here, this is my side of the family. So you can see the 2 lines between individuals 3 and 4, which would be my parents. They were divorced. And then you can show that my dad remarried, and that is individual number 5. So then the line down shows that they have kids. And then you can see 12, 14, and then me, which is in pink. You can see the lines coming down to show that those are offspring. And there's nothing too different except if you look over at mine, so I'm married, and that would be my husband would be individual 16. Now we have 2 children, number 28 and 29, 2 daughters. Now you can see from here though, he also has 2 children from another marriage, so those would come straight off of him, and then you can see those. Now since they are my kids' brothers and sisters, you do need to put them on the pedigree. Now my stepmom has 2 daughters, but they are not blood related to me at all, so I do not have to put them on the pedigree. So if they are since my husband's kids are blood related to my kids, you have to put them on that pedigree. So if you come over here to my aunt's family, my aunt would be number 10, and her husband would be, or ex-husband would be number 11. So that shows the 2 lines there to show they are no longer together. Comes down, they had a daughter, number 19, and she's married. Now they have a child on the way, and the sex is unknown, so that's for the diamond shape. and over here would be their other kids. Now, my aunt had a child with another person, number 9. They are no longer together, so you show the 2 divorced, and then they had a child, number 18. And then her new husband is number 8. They also had a child together, so then that would be number 17. Now, if you see all of these generations are on the same line, so generation 1 is my grandparents, they're on the same line. Generation number 2 would be my parents and my mom and her siblings, and they're all on the same line. Generation 3 is this line right here, and then generation 4 would be down. So you need to make sure you keep all of the generations on each separate line. So when you come back from break, you should have a family tree that's very similar to this. So your assignment is actually you need to have a rough draft. Now this isn't going to be your final draft because we need to add in quite a bit more, but I just want you to understand, know your family and how your family tree is going to look. You only have to do one side of your family. I am going to offer some extra credit for if your family tree is larger and you're putting in a lot more work, there is going to be some extra credit. And so if you choose to do both sides of your family, there will be some extra credit also, and I'll talk more about that after break. Make sure that your symbols, so male or sperm producer and female or egg producer, and then put their names underneath. And then remember the diamond is the gender unidentified. And then you're going to start to think, I want you to start thinking about a trait that you could trace through that family tree. I gave you some examples on the first slide here. Now, if you feel like there's another trait or even a disease or something like that that you would like to trace through your family, now you do need to make sure that you can talk to all these family members and decide what trait it is. The ones that I gave you are things that you can see pretty easy, maybe in a picture or things like that. So instead of having to call all of your family members, you could just look at a picture and decide what trait they had.